Okay, we're recording. Ready to go.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Ping. So I was just telling Todd that I don't have power at my house, so I didn't really prepare a whole lot last night. But I'm going to kind of share a few items that I think probably you guys want to hear about, and then I know Joanna has some items she wants to talk about, and then kind of open it up for everybody to kind of share, um, other ideas and other things that we could be doing to assist our kids during this difficult time. So first and foremost, we have a lot of kids that are whose grades are really not doing so well right now, and we
If everyone that's not speaking can mute, if you're not wearing headphones, that will help. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Okay, so we've had a lot of students whose grades have really dropped pretty precipitously over the last month or so, and that's really been an issue of concern with the staff. And we've met a number of times to try to find some strategies to get those kids back, and keep their grades up and find ways for them to be able to complete the semester successfully. So a couple of the ideas that we've had is that one of the things as we're talking to these kids uh, that we're hearing as kind of a theme is that they feel like they just don't have really enough time. They feel like they dug themselves a hole that's too deep that they just can't fill in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is before grades. So we're offering additional time, kind of an extended semester for kids that have met with their teachers and asked to have that time. We felt that that was kind of an important step because in the past, I know when the Lilac Fire happened, students were all given eyes and just provided with opportunities just to make up their work. And the feedback from the teachers were that almost none of the kids took advantage of that. That they basically had the grade that they had the day that school shut down because of the fires. So what we wanted to do is do things a little bit differently. So we're communicating that to the kids. Each individual teacher is talking about it in their classes. A couple of emails have gone out. I sent out an email last Friday. I'm going to send out a more extensive one this evening with parents, and some other emails that are directly to the kids, um, and really focus in on those kids that if they would um, just work through the holidays, not work the entire time during the holidays. We recognize that it's important to get some rest and have some time with family, but that can focus in, do a couple of key assignments that can get those grades to passing. Um, that they can be successful doing that. So we're giving them basically until Martin Luther King Day on January 18th, to get those grades up. So those kids will be initially getting an I on the report card, and then as of January 18th, hopefully they've turned in more work and they can then have a passing grade. And if not, no harm, no foul. They have the same grade they had going into the semester anyway. Um, on the 14th, to support that, we're having what we're calling a kickoff for better grades meeting, in which the teachers will all be there. We're inviting all the kids that are interested to come on Zoom at the same time. We're going to have the teachers take the kids into breakout rooms and basically work with those students to set priorities so that they're working on the right work during holidays to really move that needle. Um, and to give this kids feedback, give the kids kind of, the attaboys, the attagirls that they need to be successful and kind of move on. Another thing we're doing is we're making a lot more frequent phone calls. We've put our paras to work making phone calls on Fridays, to families that are missing. Um, we're going back to our symposium program, so we have an additional group of kids, basically a whole additional class for kids that need help, starting this week, and we'll be intensifying that after the holidays, so that for kids that need additional couple of 2 hours, 3 hours of support, there'll be time with their teachers to do that on Fridays. Um, we will be using We've also been decided that we're going to travel out into different parts of the community. So yesterday we went out to Paula. In a couple weeks, we're going out to the Arrowwood community, and we're going to just basically be doing different places, different parts of the area where in afternoons we'll have a component of teachers together to really offer tutoring, feedback to kids, to try to get some of those kids in that we haven't seen in distance learning, and have some face-to-face time. So places like the Rancho Clubhouse, the Arrowwood Golf Course, the Melba Bishop Community Center. We haven't really locked down our spots yet. We're trying to get places that are willing to have us, but we're willing to do that. And after the holidays, we'll also be kind of rolling out some evening classes for kids that failed semester one, so that we can get semester one taken care of. And we're not really doing, any backup that way. We have some peer-to-teacher to peer support teams starting off second semester, so that we don't see this problem happening again. And we've also got a new group started, a new teacher group started called our SIT team, which is basically the group that's going to look at each individual kid that's having difficulties, and find strategies that are going to be specifically sort of prescribed for those individual students. We had our first meeting this last week. And then finally, we're doing a lot more home visits. I've done a few of those this semester already. When I show up, I think sometimes kids are surprised, parents are surprised to see me, but all of my visits thus far have been very positive. They've been very, teachers or the parents have been very accommodating. And in every case that I've actually shown up at their house, it's improved the situation for the kids, because they've started showing up to class. In a lot of cases, they've decided to come to in-person hybrid schedule as opposed to staying online. But they've started connecting a little bit more. So with that kind of data, it suggests to us that some of these kids have just sort of forgotten about the relationships that they have with the teachers and the staff here. So we're putting together kind of a home visit team that will kind of rotate in membership throughout the semester, and we'll be going 3 and 4 at a time to individual parents' households and knocking on the door and saying, hey, remember us, we're your teachers, we're here to support you, what can we do? And we'll be bringing with us things like extra Chromebooks, we'll bring with us things like extra hotspots, we'll be bringing with us other support materials, some packets, that kind of work, to try to do everything we can to kind of get those families and those kids rolling. And if if we find that there are specific instances of financial difficulties or needs for counseling services, we'll be bringing some resources that we can help provide them with, some help numbers and places that they can contact for help in specific ways. So that's kind of our plan for remediation going forward, and that's kind of a big one. Other than that, we're looking forward to the end of the semester coming up soon. The last day of school is for us, the last day of school, since kids don't meet, is the 17th of December. On the 18th, teachers are here. We're having a little bit of a distance learning, not a distance learning, a socially distanced celebration on campus while the teachers are doing some grading and different things. But we want to end our semester with, having every teacher on campus and having, time to communicate with each other, and really kind of get the ball rolling for second semester while we're closing down the first semester as well as just kind of celebrate the successes we've had this semester. I mean, any way you look at it, this has been an extraordinarily tough year for everybody. And, so far we haven't had any cases of COVID on our campus. And I think that that's due to how well the students and the families have supported some of our safety procedures. And I think that really speaks a lot. That really speaks well to the kids and to the families here. A lot of the kids have really overcome some very, very serious concerns this semester, and they've been successful. So we want to celebrate their successes as well. And I think that it's important to really, while every kid is not being successful, that's why we have the remediation strategies. The majority of kids are, and we want to celebrate that. And we want to have time to figure out ways to really celebrate that when we come back in January, once we get those finalized grades. And that's something that we're also going to be looking at on that Friday to kind of plan some things for the semester. I know we have an event that's kind of the best kids and different projects that I'll let Joanna talk about. But some things like that where it's just opportunities to give the attaboys, attagirls as appropriate. All right, I think that's really kind of all I had. Was there anything else on the agenda, Todd, that I was supposed to talk about?
Yes, Adopt a Senior fundraiser.
Yes.
And any updates regarding COVID? I mean, you just gave us a really good one that there haven't been any cases on campus, but if there's anything in addition to that.
Well, I want to speak a little, just very briefly about Governor Newsom's recent kind of changes to the COVID procedures. So as of right now, we are in that Southern California region that will likely see some additional shutdowns over the course of the next several days, weeks, whenever ICUs get to less than 15% open capacity, whatever that procedure is. The way that is written, however, it's not going to affect anything that schools are doing, and so we'll remain open. We will continue to do our social distancing, our masks, our everything like that. We will continue to look at the local situation. If we have any COVID cases, obviously we'll do what we need to do to isolate those students and make sure that everybody stays safe, with communication to parents that are affected and students that are affected. Like I said, so far that hasn't been a problem, but I know that we've been lucky, and I know some schools have seen some of those issues, but so far so good. So we're hopeful it won't really affect us, but I do think that that's something that we're just going to have to keep an eye on, is the changing nature of the local situation. And if it gets a lot worse, we might need to take steps to continue to protect our staff, our students, and our families, to make sure that everybody remains safe. But for now, no change to practice, no change to who's coming where. So we won't, I know there was some rumors in the community that the district was looking to open up more in full after the semester, but that's not going to happen. And the next date that's possible for that would then be March, whatever the third quarter starts, March 13th, 14th, 15th, somewhere in there. That gives us a little bit of time. And obviously that will even depend upon the state, local, county situation. And hopefully by that point, there's time for, some of those treatments to be in place, but that'll be specific to our situation at that point. So for now, no changes coming in second semester, at least until March. So that's kind of where we are currently.
Okay, and then the Adopt a Senior fundraiser.
Joanna, were you going to talk about that a little bit more? Were you going to talk about Adopt a Senior, or do you want me to do that?
You could talk about it if you'd like.
Okay, I'll just talk about it briefly, and then if Joanna wants to add to it. So kind of like we had last year, we're not able to be with the kids as much as we'd really like to be. So we're not able to really have a lot of those events that sort of typify your senior year. Disneyland, for instance, has canceled grad night. Universal Studios canceled grad night. So some of those events that are nice celebratory events for seniors, we're just not going to be able to have. So we really like to do something for them, and some of that would be kind of like what we did with some of our sports teams last year. We'd like parents to, or community members or individual businesses or whoever, to basically sponsor a senior. And what that means is that we'll get them a big placard photo We'll have it posted all over the school. There will be some, some other little treats and we'll ask the sponsors to write a little message of encouragement to the kids, celebration to the kids, and provide some little bits of things here and there, so that those kids know that we're still, even if they're not on campus, that they're still part of our community and we're still thinking about them. And that big picture, kind of banner size picture that has their name and celebrates them as being a senior, will be something that they can take home with them at the end of the year, and keep in their dorm room or whatever they want to do with it after graduation. So that's kind of just the first part of that. I know there's probably some other pieces to it that I'm not completely aware of that Johnny can talk about, but that's kind of the first step of our celebration with our seniors, and we'll have more of those things as second semester goes forward. I know we're planning a senior sunrise activity at some point. We're planning, some things that we can do for seniors: remain socially distanced, keep all the COVID policies in place, but at the same time still recognize the community. So those are some pieces that we want to continue with that. So okay, that's it for that piece. Jonna?
Yeah, to add on to that, the reason why it's more of like an adopt a senior where a parent does the sponsorship is because it's harder to fundraise this type of money, since we do have to socially distance. So there's the way we fundraise is very complex this year, and that's like an easier way of having this be put on. But we have talked about, like, well, at least with Ms. Rojas, we briefly talked about how it'd be difficult if not all of the seniors are sponsored by a parent. So there's a lot of like technicality behind it. So like we have to figure out what we will do for, or how we will raise enough money for all the seniors, because we don't want it to just be a couple. We obviously want it to be every single senior. And that's something that the senior class council is going to start working on, as well as the senior sunrise. And I know we want to do a senior sunset as well. Just the senior sunrise, I believe, would be either this semester or at the beginning of the next semester. And the sunset is more of like towards the end of the school year, sort of like a goodbye activity. And it would be one of the safer activities that we could have, just because we can socially distance and we'd be outdoors, and we wouldn't be in an enclosed room. And would you like me to talk about like what ASB has been up to as well and stuff like that, or later on? Okay.
Sure. Can you say a little bit more about Sunrise, like what you're envisioning? Because I got the concept, but if you could paint the picture a little more fully, I think that will help. That'll help me, and I think help all of us.
Yeah, so for senior sunrise, it's kind of like a traditional activity where we just like all meet up and we have like, we watch the sunrise together. And we were thinking of not doing that because of COVID, but a lot of the seniors had reached out to the executive officers in ASB and in the class council, and they mentioned that they really wanted to have an activity as seniors, because the likelihood of us having grad night and activities like that are very slim. And pretty much what we were planning on doing was meeting either at the lower field at the on campus, or in the blacktop or something like that, and pretty much just have breakfast together and meet up and just be with each other for like an hour or two as the sun rises. And some precautions we were planning on taking was, if we were to have a breakfast, it'd be like pre-ordered or something like that, where they would be separately bagged, so it's not like all the students would be touching the same food. It would be individualized food. And then we would be requiring masks and socially distancing and stuff like that. So the logistics of it they're still pretty broad. We haven't really set on a date or anything like that, but it's definitely something that we're going to put on in the near future.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And as far as ASB, we have a couple of we have a lot of stuff we're actually working on currently, and the way our ASB is ran is we have our executive officers, our activities committee, our sports and clubs, and then technology and publicity and spirit. I know our Spirit Week, or sorry, our Spirit Committee was working on a Spirit Week that we just had a week ago, and also Guardian Awards. So pretty much what our Guardian Awards are, they're awards that we have put on in the past, and we just recognize students who have been showing very good student spirit, school spirit, or they're very interactive in their classes, and they just like create a positive environment. And we've been doing so in our announcements every month. That's what we're trying to incorporate is just recognizing students every single month, and the teachers are the ones who announce them, and it just kind of is to, you know, show the students that even though we are virtual or hybrid, they are being noticed and their actions are being taken into consideration. So that's something really cool that I like. And then for publicity, they've just been working on really enhancing college and career announcements. They're making sure that we get what Miss Erin and Miss Crystal are putting out regarding college and career readiness, and just enhancing that as well. And then for technology, we have our video announcements still. I don't know if you guys have watched any of our video announcements, but we try to keep all of our students up to date, just because we know that a lot of them don't check their emails and they can be flooded. And it also is just putting a face to all this that is going on. We're just kind of like trying to be interactive with our video announcements. And we're also including birthdays so that, like I said, students feel like they are being recognized. For sports and clubs, we are working on senior athlete posters. This is just to, that's something we did, I believe, last year, is we had senior posters for all the athletes that were in sports. It's a little bit complicated because we can't really have sports this year, so we're kind of putting it as if you did do a sport last year, or if you were going to play sports this year, you can get a senior poster. And for our activities committee, we've had our BHS Survivor / virtual games on Fridays. And it's pretty much like during our symposium classes, which are meetings that we have every Friday with our teachers, where some of our ASB members have been pretty much putting on games so that all the students can interact with each other online. And we're also planning a virtual award assembly for January. We're currently in the process of working on that, and we're planning a virtual talent show as well. So yeah, that was a lot, but that's what we've been up to.
Thanks, Joanna. I was trying to take notes at the same time, so sorry for the delay. So I wanted to, I mean, that's all we have for the meeting today, but I thought it might be worthwhile to spend a few minutes. Just, I really love what you've come up with, Dr. Fowler, in terms of the remediation and engagement. And I'm wondering if anyone else has ideas. I mean, I think the challenge is, you know, when you're there in person, obviously it's much easier to stay engaged, and how to, I love the idea of going and reaching out to those that are falling behind. I'm wondering if anyone else has any ideas. I think I thought we could use just a few minutes to maybe brainstorm, and if anyone has anything to kind of throw in about what, you know, what we could do to get these students engaged. I think there needs to be a lot more social connection. Yeah, go ahead.
I know in Dr. Fowler's last, I think last week letter, he had asked if anybody wanted to join the hybrid model. I was wondering if anybody had participated or had asked to come back to school. Did he get any response to that?
We've had a few. We have some space for, and it's always it's hard to say like broadly, like we have a space for freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors. We have a space in all those categories, but it depends upon the kids' individual schedules. So so for the seniors, for instance, some of those kids that are in kind of the more the higher end maybe classes, the APs, the honors, that kind of stuff. There's less space for those guys in the hybrid model than there is for the ones that are just taking, you know, your regular classes. So we actually started about 4 kids back on hybrid this week. And that's actually been one of the strategies, like I talked about when I meet with families that have been disconnected. The very first thing I do is I ask them if they want to come back, because like Todd said, it's easier to engage them when you see them sitting there, and you can actually, you know, pull them aside and say, hey, you know, we need you to pick up on this. So that's the very first thing that I ask, and we've over the course of the semester we've brought back probably, I don't know, probably just a little fewer than 20 kids, maybe 17 kids overall. And that's created some situations, like I said, where some classes are getting fuller and we don't have any more room. We do have room though like I said, in every grade. It's just not a lot of room in specific classes. So if you have a junior, a sophomore, a freshman, it's a little easier than it is for a senior. Freshmen, we can take quite a few more. Sophomores, we can take a handful more. Juniors, we can take a few more, and then seniors, it really depends upon kind of the classes that you need. So, but if you're a parent and you want to bring your kid back and you're watching this later, you know, feel free to reach out to me or Miss Crystal, and we'll happy to try to accommodate if we can.
Good. One thing that showed up in the chat, Jennifer Jordan suggested that maybe there's a way to set up peer tutor buddies so they can check in and support each other. Like, you know, there are students that are doing well. So like, I think, and they can get community hours, and whether that's grade level or a mixture, and include subject to subject. So for instance, Jennifer saying that her student is a year ahead in math. So, so those are some additional ideas. I don't know how you connect up those students, but I think it's a good idea because, you know, getting support from a peer is different from being a parent. Like when my child, he's actually being homeschooled, one of my students now, because anyway, I won't go into the whole story, but he was really struggling. So, and as a parent trying to put pressure on him, I don't want to, because he has, you know, depression, and I don't want to add more stress to him. So we've been really working to just show our caring and not push him to have my agenda for him to get his schoolwork done. So, but if that comes from a peer, that's a little different than it coming from a parent. So I think this is a really good idea, just looking from my own standpoint of some of the issues that students are going through right now with the isolation. And I just, you know, want to be as honest as possible and put that out there. Again, I don't know how you coordinate it, but I think student to student it has the potential to be a lot more effective than parent, you know, going after them. So, because not all students respond well to that.
I think that's a great idea. I wrote that down for trying to get a peer tutoring. I know that's something we've sort of talked about. We've had a couple of kind of starts on that. I know that we have a program now where a lot of our severe mod kids are off campus and probably won't be coming back to campus for a while just because of their health situations. Mm-hmm. And so we've provided each of those kids with kind of a buddy, a mentor to kind of reach out to them on a, you know, several times a week basis, and just kind of check in and, you know, help them feel like, you know, oh yeah, you know, I have some regular friends, and I'm also still a part of this school. So I think that's kind of, maybe this is kind of an extension of that, where we, you know, look at finding kids that just are good at math and connecting them with kids that just need help with math and or English and or science and or what have you. So maybe that's something that I can work with the teachers and ASB on putting together and have that ready to roll out very quickly.
Great. I think if that, even just that one thing came out of this meeting, that would be really, really good. I mean, yeah. Okay, I'll say one more thing. My other student is a senior, and he's, you know, he's a social learner, so he's been having trouble both at Palomar. I mean, just not the same. Like being engaged with the teacher, listening to lectures and stuff like that in person is just different than online. So I think it's just something they have to learn to adapt to and open up the conversation and become a little bit more ownership of their learning. So I don't know if other parents have ideas on that aspect. I mean, I think it varies individual to individual. Some kids are just more responsible and take ownership. Some kids need that in-person connection to feel that engagement and take that level of ownership. So that's another thing that I'm just seeing with my own students and haven't totally figured out. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey y'all, I'm still not on video, but I did want to bring up the teacher luncheon.
Thank you.
December 18th. And you know, we love our staff. We want to support them, and doing a $10 monetary donation to provide lunch for one staff member it's a really easy thing for us to do. And so I know we're going to be sending that out again, but if you know other parents, just remind them to double check that. I mean, if we get close to 32, I certainly don't mind donating a little bit more, but if we only get like half, that's not good. So we need to make sure that we get that by probably the Friday or Monday before. Like, I'd like to get all those boxes on Perfect Potluck filled up.
Yes, thank you. So I will Leslie just sent a question through the chat, and what we can do, it's gone out in the email. It went out in 2 emails so far. The one that was the link email today, and then one a few days ago. So it's in that ping email, but I'll send out a standalone one on Tuesday and it'll have a link to the Perfect Potluck. So you can go in and put in your information, and you can sponsor 2 if you want to. So it's not limited to $10, you could do 20. And another question is, if we have extra money, where does it go?
Yes, so if we have extra money, then it will go to drinks and or, a small tip to Z Cafe. What we're doing is Leslie, I don't know if you saw it, but we're doing something kind of very specific. Z Cafe, their Hawaiian bowls, so that teachers can pick the choice between white and brown rice and their choice of protein. And I've already talked to Z Cafe, and they're up for doing it. But I'll provide a full accounting of what I spend the money on, and I can be Venmo'd, or even the cash can be, brought by a student to Miss Kara or Miss Crystal. We can make arrangements for that. Is that it?
Yeah, so this might be the kind of thing where parents need to talk to other parents, because not everyone's on ping. So
right.
You and I can think separately, Jennifer, about how else we might be able to spread this. Like, just reach out to a handful of parents that we know and see if they can talk to a few other parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will definitely be doing that.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that too.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, everybody.
I think that's it, unless Dr. Fowler, you have something else you want to say in closing.
No, I really don't, but I want to thank everybody for being so supportive of the school and for taking time to, be here this morning. And once again, if anybody has any ideas for remediation or for ways to celebrate our seniors, please reach out to me at any time. Ms. Rojas is also our ESD support person, so that would be another source that you might want to reach out to with ideas about how to support kids. And I just want to wish everybody a very happiest of holidays, since we won't see you before then, and hope that everybody is healthy and well.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for
Thank
being with
you.
us today.
Ready?
Have a good one.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody. Leslie, I can email you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sure.
All right. Bye.